Finally! After years of waiting, I finally got Buddha. And it only took 2 days, really. It didn't take a very long time at all. So, there's some things that I want to go over when it comes to Buddha, because this is still a relatively new fruit. So there's some things that I'd like to go over, some quick tips for both the users and those who are fighting against it. So, when you're using Buddha, your main things are going to be Judgment, Impact, and Spine Breaker. Palm Strike is like more of a backup, right? Just watch. This is true, by the way. They can't escape this. Well, okay, well, I missed that, but you get the point. These two moves are going to be your bread and butter when it comes to PvP with Buddha. If you don't land these two moves, I don't know what the hell is wrong with you. They are some of the easiest moves to land, especially Judgment Impact. They give you a speed boost and it dazes them. Now, when it comes to half Buddha form, your main things are going to be both Heavenly Shockwave and also Heaven Sent Impact Leap. These two are just going to be used for also building your mode bar and just getting some extra damage in if you are a fruit main. Spine Breaker, same thing, you know, the same move. It doesn't really change a whole lot. And Enlightenment is one of my favorite moves because it not only does it buff your damage, but it also gives you passive health regen. Both of which are very, very good, mind you. And it furthermore helps you to help build this thing right here. Your bread and butter, even more of your bread and butter, your mode bar. Because if you get this to 80%, it's basically wraps. You can basically just win the match at that point, as long as you're not in 300 ping in Asia/Singapore servers, like I have been, right? Because once you get to, you know, above 80%, you can transform into full Buddha form. This, not only does it heal you practically back to full if you transform for the first time, but you get instant access to all of these crazy ass moves. We got Heavenly Shockwave, we got Heaven Sent, Impact right here, which has crazy range, by the way. And one of my favorite moves, which has crazy range, Heaven Focus. Ah! Oh, I love that move. And then we got Enlightenment, which is also just super good. It has bigger range and has a stronger buff, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Okay, so after waiting for that, you get Divine Retribution, which is also one of my favorite moves. Only because you can also use this just straight out of the form, and people won't expect it. And it does like a decent amount of damage, has crazy range as well. It's a good way to finish someone off. So overall, Buddha's a really fun fruit to use, in my opinion. I really love this fruit. And it's great for wars, by the way. Join G1 Marines, by the way. Anyways. Now, for those of you who are fighting against it, this is a different story, and this is also really important. When you're fighting against the Buddha, listen, do not let them get to 80%. Alright? Just don't. Because it's going to be really bad for you. Because, once again, as I explained earlier, they get a free health pack, and they have access to crazy moves. It's much easier to build your mode bar with Buddha than it is with Venom. I've seen this. It's much easier. And not to mention the fact that they can just pop it whenever they want. There's no, you don't need to be full Karma bar. You just need to have 20% for half form, and 80% at least for full form. And they can use it whenever they want. So, what can I do against the Buddha? Especially as a Dolahan, you gotta pay attention to this, what I'm saying right here. Do not use your skeletons. Do not give them anything that can help them build mode bar, because that is everything to them. If you don't let them build their mode bar, they're pretty much stuck with the moves that they have on their base kit. For Dolahans, I especially emphasize this point because if you summon skeletons, they can build mode bar off of that. If you guys didn't know. Foyu's probably going to change that in the future, but for right now, you really want to avoid using skeletons, because that is bad news. One Palm Strike with 4 skeletons plus the person, if they're unlucky enough to be near it, nearly builds half their mode bar. It's really bad news if you use it. So avoid doing that at all costs. Now, a general tip for Buddha: if you're going to be using this fruit, you should know how to white walk. Hey Jumper, what's white walking? Well, I'll show you. So you do 4 M1s, and then on the 5th M1 you double tap W, like so. Like that. This is very necessary because if you don't know how to do this, not only will your combos be basically non-existent, except maybe with like Judgment Impact or something. But also in general PvP, it's just gonna make your combos a lot more viable. You'll be able to extend a lot more. Even with something like Cyborg, it's very necessary because that's the only way really that you can confirm it. That's the only way you can make it a true combo extender. So all in all, I highly recommend that you learn how to white walk if you don't know how to already, for both Buddha and general PvP use. Now, a very important tip that I have to anyone who has a gaming mouse with like buttons on them: if your software supports it, try to remap one of those buttons to the T button. Reason being, you can do something like this, where you can just instantly pop it without having to take your fingers off of the WASD keys. It allows you to preserve your movement tactics and all that. It's just very, very convenient. Even with like another fruit such as Ope, where it has like a mode or something like that. Very, very useful. Even with Tori, this is also just a general tip. It just makes your life a lot easier. And trust me, it might take a little bit to get used to, but it is so worth it in the end, because you'll be able to just do things so much more quickly and more efficiently. You'll be probably be able to pop it a lot better than you would if you were to just press T normally. So yeah, just a little thing that I figured that I share with y'all. Now, as a Buddha, your main play style is just going to be like white walking, and then I keep fucking missing that because of the lag. But your main thing is just gonna be white walking. If you have Cyborg, maybe use machine gun blows or something like that. It's just gonna mainly be revolve around these two moves, building up your bar, and once you have 20%, try to incorporate, you know, your second form into your playstyle as well. I prefer if you were to just like use it temporarily and then, you know, just turn it off, so that way you can preserve it, so that way when you get the chance you can finally turn into big form and absolutely blast some cheeks. Because once again, as you can see, I healed a lot there. That's very important. Do not underestimate it. Please don't waste your shit. It's precious, especially in arena. Now, as a Buddha, when it comes to weapons, you can really use anything, because the fruit in it of itself already has two pretty good combo extenders, so you can have a little bit more freedom when it comes to that, right? You can use really anything will really work, you know. All these weapons right here, they might have a use, maybe besides like this piece of garbage, but yeah, there's probably a weapon out there that you'd like to use that you can probably use with this fruit, because, you know, it's versatile, you know. Once again, two combo extenders, so there's nothing holding you back in that sense. Now, in terms of like what weapons would be the best, I'd say anything, of course, from Hollow's Halberd, this atrocious piece of shit, to, you know, if you're in a high crew, Ace, and then I guess the Pitchfork. If you're like into like giving yourself a challenge, if you have it, I'd use CC, just because I don't like to use those kinds of weapons. I feel like they'd carry a little bit too much. But if you're looking for just an experience of dominating people, then go with something like the Halberd. Now, the final thing that I'd like to touch upon is stat builds. In terms of Buddha, you really don't have to worry about, if you're not really worried about getting to max form, which I don't know why you wouldn't be. You don't have to put that much in fruit. You could probably just put like the bare minimum and do, I guess, fine with it if you're just concerned about the combo extenders. For me, I'd want to have that option, so I put 300 just so I could do a decent amount of damage. 200 stam just because this is a semi-war build as well. 600 in defense, because obviously if you have anything lower than like 1.7k, you're going to get decimated by the meta, which is atrocious, by the way. 525 in sword, just for a little bit of sword damage, and 100 in fighting style for all the cyborg moves. This might vary depending on, you know, the type of race that you have, you know, and all that. But you just gotta find something that fits your tastes. And with that, I think that's about it. I think I touched upon most stuff, I think. If y'all have any questions, you know, just let me know. And if y'all enjoyed the video, you know, subscribe, and peace.